Hello lovelies, welcome back to my channel. In this video I wanted to talk to you guys about my experience with intermittent fasting, some of the things I absolutely loved about this diet and some of the things that I absolutely hated, and the reason why I stopped doing it after doing it 4 months consistently. Coming right up.
3, 2, 1.
Here we go! Remember guys, this is my experience with intermittent fasting, and it absolutely doesn't mean that you should stop doing it or you should stop experimenting or not experiment with it at all. I truly believe that every single person needs to experiment with different types of diet to really figure out what they like and what works for them, right? So I encourage you to try this diet and try to learn from it, and if you wanted to continue with it, that's perfect. You can share your experience with other people and under this video as well. I don't know if you guys have seen these videos, but I really looked into intermittent fasting. I did a lot of research on it, watched a lot of videos, I read a lot of research paper, and I tried to do it properly. There were some of the things that I really liked, which I'm gonna talk about first. Maybe that will encourage you to try this as well, and then afterwards I'm gonna tell you the things that I didn't like about it. So the first thing I really liked about intermittent fasting, I would say I loved about intermittent fasting, was the fact that I was getting leaner so quickly. It was so quick that I pretty much think I lost about 5% of body fat within 2-3 weeks. It was definitely mostly because I was so used to having 6 meals a day, and all of a sudden I'm going to have 2 or 3 meals a day, even though I was keeping my calories the same, but my body wasn't really used to that, so I started losing a lot of fat. Now in the beginning of this phase, I started getting a lot of shivers, I was feeling really cold, I was really hungry in the beginning, even though I started with 12 hours and then I did 14 and 16. When I got to the 18 hours of fasting, I experienced a lot of symptoms, but it was totally worth it because I was having a lot more energy, I was happier, I was lighter, I was having better workouts at home, which was during the pandemic. Our gyms were still open. They actually opened just yesterday. So when I was experimenting with intermittent fasting, I was still having my home workouts, I was going for runs, and I felt really light and I felt really great. Another thing that I really liked about intermittent fasting is that it taught me to be okay with the feeling of hunger and really understand the difference between hunger and craving food. Now before I did intermittent fasting, I wasn't really used to being hungry. So let's say if my gym session took a little bit longer, so I didn't eat after 3 or 4 hours, I felt really hungry. I literally felt like I was gonna die. So after experimenting so much with intermittent fasting and doing a lot of crazy experiments, such as doing fasted workouts, for example, I would fast for 18 hours and I would do a crazy workout and I would eat afterwards, and I was okay with feeling hungry. Now that I'm doing 6 meals a day again, if I ever feel hungry again, I tell myself, if you could do that, if you could not eat for 18 hours and still do your workout, you could do this, right? So that's why I always say that you need to always experiment with these diets to see what they can do for you, or maybe follow a coach's diet and maybe experiment with all of these diets yourself, because every single one of them will teach you something really important and it will help you on your journey. Another thing that I loved about intermittent fasting was the fact that my digestion improved beyond imagination. Now, I never had any issues with digestion or digesting my food. Now, after intermittent fasting, I realized your digestion can actually improve. Why? It's because you're giving your system a rest. You're giving your gut microbiome a rest, a chance for them to refresh, to get healthier and do their job more properly. If you're not intermittent fasting, some of the things that you could add to your diet to help with your gut microbiome is kefir and sauerkraut. One of the other things that I really liked about this diet was the fact that it really helped me stop binging. I've talked about this in my other videos. I have ADHD and I really liked binging and munching on other food and snacks. Now, I wouldn't really munch on unhealthy food. I would have a handful of berries or a few nuts in between my meals, but this is detrimental to weight loss. Seriously, if you're gonna have 6 meals, you have to stick with 6 meals. You're not gonna have snacks in between because that really messes up with your insulin level. You can't really munch in between meals. So I did that. And intermittent fasting really helped me with that because I had an eating window and a fasting window, and during that fasting window I wasn't really allowed to touch food at all, so that really helps me become very disciplined with my food and with my diet. Now the most important fact that I really liked about this diet, and one of the reasons that I will go back to this diet later in my life, is the fact that I felt lighter, healthier, happier, more energized. I needed less sleep, so I had more time to do other stuff during the day. Now if you're eating a lot during the day, your body body needs time to process all of that food, and that takes a lot of energy from your body to do that. Now, because you're gonna eat a lot during the day, you're gonna need more sleep to recover from that as well. Therefore, if you're not gonna eat as much, you're gonna have less sleep. This is why I loved intermittent fasting also, because it gave me more time, more energy. I could wake up earlier, I could go to sleep later, and it really worked out for me for a while when I was doing it. And your body also produces a lot of ketones, which helps with mental clarity. When I compared my motivation and my focus to when I was actually doing intermittent fasting compared to now, it's unbelievable how much more focused I was and how much more energy I had when I was doing intermittent fasting. Honestly guys, I swear, as I'm recording this video, I'm really thinking maybe I should go back to doing intermittent fasting sooner than I wanted to. Okay, now let's talk about some of the reasons I didn't like intermittent fasting. And one of the most important reasons that stopped me from doing that was because I like to eat on vacations. I like to eat when I go to a party, and I couldn't do that with intermittent fasting even if I ate healthy. As soon as I would have an extra meal for the period that I was supposed to be fasting, or I fasted the day before, I would put on so much weight in a matter of a day that it was crazy. I was like, okay, I intermittent fasting for so long, and within a day my body composition just kind of got really messed up. Now, you might not have the same experience with me, or you might not overeat like me, but sometimes when I'm at a party I overeat a lot. Sometimes I don't eat unhealthy, I swear, but the change in my body was so drastic that I'm like, I'm not doing this again. Now, why does that happen? I talked about that in this video, and the reason why intermittent fasting slows down your metabolism, especially if you're over 30 and your metabolism is already slowing down, and you're gonna slow it down even more by intermittent fasting. If you're ever gonna go crazy with food, you're gonna see a drastic change in your weight right away. Now, why does it really slow down your metabolism? It's because you're training your body every single day when you're intermittent fasting that you're not gonna have food for 18 or 20 hours. So whatever food I give you, you better conserve it. You better make sure you use it very, very slowly so you have energy throughout the day tomorrow, because I'm gonna work you out. I'm gonna work out, I'm gonna go do work, I'm gonna use my brain for other things. You're gonna need energy, right? So if I give you a little bit of food right now, make sure you hold on to it because you're gonna need it. Now, my body doesn't understand that I'm at a party right now, right? So when it sees the food, it's gonna hold on to it as much as it can, so it's gonna turn it into fat cells for me. It's working for me, but it doesn't realize that I want a better body. I don't want to gain weight all of a sudden, right? What can you do? Another reason I stopped intermittent fasting was because I was becoming really aggressive towards food. I was trying to fit 1,800 to 2,000 calories within 6 hours of eating window, and it was really, really hard because I had to increase my food portions. When you increase your portions, your stomach's gonna stretch, you're gonna feel more bloated, and you're gonna need more time to really digest the food. I was really aggressive. I was trying to eat everything during the 6 hours, so I was always constantly thinking about eating and trying to stuff my face. What is my plan for now? My plan for now is to stick to 6 meals a day, as I mentioned. I like feeling light. I like eating small portions and always eating, to be honest. I love eating food, so I don't really want to give that up yet. Also, since I know most of the health and longevity benefits of fasting really kicks in after the 18 hours time, I decided that I start fasting once or twice a month, and I give my body and system a rest. To be brutally honest with you guys, I still struggle with food addiction. I'm very much addicted to food. I think about food more than I should. I eat a lot more than I should. I binge still, from here and there, and it's really hard for me to completely give that up. It's something that I'm working on, and I talked about that on my Instagram as well. Don't forget to follow me right here. But this is something that I'm working on, and I don't want to really rush myself through this process. I want to take my time like I take my time with everything else. I want to make sure I'm better. I'm not as addicted to food. And once I have a better relationship with food, then I would consider going more extreme with my diets, maybe try intermittent fasting in future. So if you're there, if you don't have the struggles that I have with food, and you don't have any food addictions or any issues with food, I would totally recommend that you follow this diet. It's one of the best diets that I've experimented with. I feel like this is how human needs to be eating. It's a really great way to eat. Honestly, I really truly believe in that. So let me know if you guys can relate to this. Let me know if you are ready for intermittent fasting, if you've tried it. Let me know what your experiences has been. Comment down below. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for following me and subscribing to my YouTube channel. I really love seeing every day that you guys subscribe to my channel. It makes me so excited. It makes me want to make more videos for you guys. Thank you so much again. See you in the next video. Bye bye.